This is Chapter 8, Inform, Educate, Counsel under Examination and Treatment Quality. This skill involves a lot of things, and it really is case dependent. The communication in this area can be very simple to very complex depending upon what the situation is. At the very least, it involves a few things such as informing the patient about what you intend to do next, making orienting statements that help the patient understand what to expect through every step of the examination. So for example, you might make a statement such as, I'd like to do a physical examination now, or let's schedule your blood work, okay? So anyway, you want to, again, inform the patient about what you're doing and what you're thinking. It also includes giving the patient some feedback. And again, this involves listening to the patient, figuring out what they're dealing with, what they're struggling with, and statements such as, it sounds like you're having difficulty staying on your diet if you're exploring diet and lifestyle issues and you're finding that the patient is not able, for example, to avoid using salt. You've lost weight. It might be a good thing to note if you're seeing a patient repeatedly, and primary care really is about continuity of care and noting the patient's progress as well as the difficulties that they're having in their lifestyle and in their health issues. Also, we would like you to give patients feedback during the physical examination. If you examine the patient's lungs, for example, and everything sounds great, you might want to say, your lungs sound clear, or I hear wheezing. So every time you do a physical examination, either right after the exam or as a summary of the total physical examination, you want to give patients some feedback about what you found and keep them informed. Also, we would expect that at the end of the exam, before exiting the room, what you want to do is to review all the information you gathered for the patient so that the patient hears what you've learned, as well as you're checking for accuracy. Now, when you start your third year rotations, you're really not expected to develop a treatment plan, but you would be expected to take a history, perhaps do a physical examination, and again, summarize that to the patient as well as summarize it to a resident or a attending physician who may be standing by. So please remember to summarize information clearly. In more complicated cases, you may be called upon to provide patient education. So for example, how to manage a patient's diabetes treatment, which has many steps. So this is a lesson in and of itself, but that will be something that you'll be doing in the future with a lot of your patients, is educating them how to actually stay healthy or to how to follow your treatment plan. You may also be called upon to counsel or console the patient if you have to give them bad news. And the bad news can range from a bad diagnosis to informing them about the death of a loved one. So it can take in a lot of area depending upon what the situation is. Things to avoid doing is not providing feedback or summary, not giving information about next steps, using medical jargon without explaining what you're talking about might get you a lower score. Also, ending the exam abruptly, say if it's a timed examination and you get the signal to leave the exam room. One thing we don't want you to do is to just turn on your heels and leave. It would be much better if you simply smile, thank the patient, and then leave the exam room. Likewise, the same thing for actual patients. You don't want to just gather the information without exiting the room in a courteous manner.